Three identical smooth cylinders are placed inside a rigid container. Each cylinder has a diameter of 0.5 meter and weighs 500 newtons. The container has an internal width of 0.8 meter. Compute the reaction at D. Compute the reaction at E. If the coefficient of friction at C is 0.15, compute the maximum friction force at C. Yung technique ko dito, no, basta cylinder problems, locate automatically the centers of the circle. Magagamit talaga natin to especially sa angles ng mga reaction. And you will connect the centers. The diameter of each of the cylinder is 0.5 meters, meaning the radius of each cylinder is half of 0.5. That's 0.25. Okay, didiskartean natin makuha yung angle ng lights. Kailangan makuha natin yung angle nito from horizontal or from vertical. Kasi yung mga angle niyan, or itong line na yan, yan yung direction ng reaction internally. Yung reaction dyan is along that line. And the reaction in the circles is always pointing to the center. Now, we can consider this right triangle here and tawagin po itong theta. Now, para makuha natin yung theta, kailangan natin ng at least dalawang side ng triangle. It can be these two sides o pwede rin itong hypotenuse. Yung available natin is this dimension because tingnan that this is radius of the circle, 0.25. Ito rin radius din yan ng circle, 0.25. 0.25 ko lahat. So meaning, meron tayong isang side ng triangle ito, a total of 0.5. Kailangan pa natin ng isa. Now, ang makukuha natin dyan is ito. Gagamitin natin itong law na yan. Diba radius yan? Perpendicular po yan sa point of tangency. So that is still radius, meaning it is still 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. As you can see that if this is 0.8 meters, 0.8 minus 0.25 minus 0.25, that gives us this side. And ang ibibigay niya is 0.8. Okay, sa triangle din na yan, ang given is adjacent hypotenuse. Meaning, gagamitan natin ang cosine. Cosine theta is adjacent 0.3, hypotenuse is 0.5. Or theta is 53.13. Okay? After that, gagawa na natin ng free body diagram. Una, meron tayong weight. Each cylinder weighs 500 newtons. Okay, isa-isahin natin yung diagram. At the point of contact, there are normal reaction. Sa point D, this is RB. That is perpendicular to the rim. Sa point A, mayroong point of contact, RA, perpendicular yan. Dito sa C, perpendicular to the rim. At dito sa D, perpendicular sa rim. Huwag mo munang lagyan ng forces dito in between. Concept ng mechanics sa three-body diagram. As long as hindi mo pa ina-isolate yung system, hindi mo pinuputol, hindi mo tinatanggal, consider one as one figure. Meaning, wala kang ilalagay na forces internally. Para malagyan mo siya ng forces internally, para masama siya sa free body diagram, you will isolate each of the cylinder. Tawagin itong figure 1. Now, let us look at the forces that will be acting if we isolate this cylinder. 500 newtons, RA. Dito, since in-isolate na natin siya, pwede na nating tingnan yung reaction sa A. And that reaction is pointing to the center. Ganun talaga reaction sa point E. Ang reaction naman na yan, RE, ipaparsa naman yan doon sa second cylinder. So the forces are 500 newtons. Pero RB, by the way, the angle of this is theta, which is 53.13 that we solved kanina. Aside from that, dito sa point F, meron na rin contact. Meron ng reaction, RF, and it is pointing to the center of the circle. Ang RF naman yan, ipapasa palubak. So, ipapasa siya dito para transfer of weights. The angle of that is theta because symmetry naman to, 53.30 degrees. Okay, tawag din ko itong figure 2, figure 3, at figure 4. Compute the reaction at D. Okay, now, saan diagram yung pinaka-counting reaction? Pinaka-counting anon? Well, as you can see that, ang diagram of figure 2 yung konti lang yung anon. You only have RA, RE. Dalawa lang. Figure 1, kung gawin mong buo, apat, marami. Dito naman, marami din, isa, dalawa, tatlo. Ang pinaka-counting anon, it is only figure 2. But sa figure 1, although apat yung anon, the three unknowns are parallel. parallel yung RA, RC, RB. Nag-iisa lang unknown vertical, RB. Meaning, kahit sa Engr 1 pala, we can directly solve the RD. Summation forces vertical. You have RD, tapos saluin niyang buo ang tatlong weights. 500, 500, 500. We can get RD equal to 1,500 newtons. Okay, reaction sa A. O dito, focus naman natin sa reaction sa A. Wala tayong magagawa kundi i-consider si figure 2. Okay, considering figure 2. Notice, RA is horizontal. Ang R is inclined. Meaning, you can solve directly RA using one equation only. Emission forces vertical. Okay, so we have vertical component RE. RE sine 53.13 minus 500 then equal to 0. Kuha natin si RE, 625 newtons. Compute the friction force. So we know that a maximum friction force is mu times the normal reaction. No, inalitan ko yung variable no. From total reaction RC, ginawa ko na siyang normal force NC. Kasi yung total reaction sa C this time, kung meron siyang friction, is not just na normal. It is the resultant. Friction dali ko. So meron tayong friction sa C. The active force is going down. Ignore that friction force is a resistance. So that must be going up. So, kung tingnan natin dito, o pag ganun yung direction sa C. Meaning class, ang kailangan lang natin dito initially is to solve for normal reaction na C. After ma-solve yung normal reaction na C, the friction is mu times normal reaction at C. Ang sabi niya lang ang friction daw will happen only at point C. The rest of the contact force, wala. So, paano niya ba ito kukunin? O, galing tayo dito, ang figure 2, kukunin si RE. Really, the same RE lang yung na-solve natin sa number 2. And after that, dapat makuha natin si RF. After you solve RE, emission forces sa vertical, kukunin ko si RF. Makukuha natin siya. After RF, makukuha si NC, summation forces horizontal. Transfer of loading strada. Okay? Again, figure 2, the same to kanina, kukuha ng RE. Kasi wala namang nagbago sa diagram dyan. RE is still 625 newtons. And dito sa figure 3, once you have RPA, the emission of forces vertical, isosogo mo na si RF. I will avoid RB. Hindi ako summation forces horizontal. The emission of forces vertical. So we have RF tan of 53.13, considering figure 3 Then minus component RE tan of 53.13, and minus 500 equals 0. With RE known 625, kuha natin si RF, 1 to 50 newtons. And lastly, in figure 4, we will be solving NC. As emission forces horizontal, so NC minus component RF to the left. RF cosine 53.13 was 0. With RF 1 to 50, normal reaction at C is 720 newtons. So the maximum friction force at C is mu times the normal reaction at C. Mu is 0.15, normal reaction at C is 750. So you have 112.5 newtons.